is Hayley Morris. I run a small animation studio called Shape and Shadow. And like Max said, I do a variety of projects, but really what comes down to it in my work is that it's handcrafted, and I really don't want to hide the fact that I use handmade materials. I want those materials to really shine and come through, and for my viewers to know that it was crafted by me, a person, a real person. And I think for me, materials and working with objects really lead the way in what I do. And so the workshop today will really be all about that. Is, we don't have much time to work. Stop motion is a very time-consuming process, and so in brainstorming for this workshop, I thought, okay, let's work with materials on hand and think about how we can reimagine them and bring life to them. So I also, just to kind of wrap things up, I do also puppet design, and when you think of traditional stop motion, like Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline and all that stuff, full-on puppets. But I think with mine, like I said, I don't like hiding that they are handmade. So my process usually with crafting stuff is gathering a bunch of random stuff, putting it in front of me, and then just letting the materials lead the way. So this is one of my newest projects. It's a documentary on Amazon called Octopus. And I co-directed and art directed 10 minutes of the stop motion animation, and it all revolves around this octopus named Doris. And I didn't do a traditional design. Like I said, I just gathered colors that I like, different fabrics, fibers, and materials, and the octopus showed herself to me, and I made her. So this is just my reel. I thought just a nice sampling of all of the types of animation I do. And I really love working with paper, clay, found objects, even animating people. I did this really fun project with Dash last summer where we created these giant sets out of paper and then animated a person on the floor with a down shooter set up like this. So here's my reel just to see a bit of my work. And yeah, when brainstorming for this workshop, I was thinking of projects that would be relevant to spark some ideas, maybe give you some inspiration. A lot of the projects that I thought of for this were more of my personal work and music video work, where I really get to experiment and really play with materials and have less restraints. The first film that I did that really made me fall in love with stop motion animation was my short film called Undone, which was my thesis film. And I really found the power of inanimate objects and how they could become symbols for these greater ideas. So this film was all about Alzheimer's disease and thinking about how to visualize that in a tactile way. So string became the symbol for like the progression of the disease, and I used like fabric for the waves, which is like comforting because it's cloth and a fabric, but in the way that I manipulated it, it felt like confusing and sometimes menacing in parts for this person that trying to visualize what that must feel like. So this is really like my start of just loving working with my hands. And another one, it was a music video for Hilary Hahn and called Bounce Bounce. And for this one, I really wanted to, I'm just gonna try to like condense it in the storyline into imagining what it would look like inside a tide pool if you like stuck your head in there and could see all the creatures. So for this one, my process was just going to junk stores and antique stores and sourcing things that I could find. And so like at junk stores, I'd find like old doilies that, I would be like, this could be perfect for, a starfish-like creature, or seed pods when I sequenced them through replacement animation would create some kind of really interesting movement and an otherworldly kind of feeling. So this one was really just about experimentation with materials, and I just had so much fun with that freedom of just playing around and like thinking of the musicality of the materials. So yeah, I especially like these seed pods that I found. These are just static things, but when I found like 6 that I sequenced, I could pop one in, take it out, pop the next one, replacement animation, and it creates the sense of movement. So you'll be playing with replacement animation today as well. Another music video for Explosions in the Sky for the song Ecstatics. I knew I wanted to experiment with a lot of like translucencies and transparent materials and paper. And so I sourced a bunch of plastics. I even worked with glass blowers to make a bunch of like abstract glass forms, and then brought them back to my studio and then found a sequence within the glass pieces. So I think it's really fun, like looking at objects and trying to find patterns through shape, size, color, and these everyday objects are more than just everyday objects with your imagination. So, yeah, those are those. And then I made this for Dash Bash as a fun little test, working with some of the materials that are all on your stations today. Yeah, I think for the workshop today, it's going to be kind of open-ended, like really up to you what you want to do in your teams. But for this, I thought it would be fun to try to make a character out of multiple objects. I just used like 2 blocks for a head and the body and some yarn for the arms, and just threw, manipulation of them jumping up and down in the string, a simple string acted like a trampoline or something. And then for the words, it was really fun raiding through my daughter's toy box and finding Legos and Mr. Potato Head arms and stuff like that, and trying to form the words. I'm just gonna loop this still, but look at my notes here. Okay, so yeah, when looking at your objects that are in front of you, there's a bunch of, we try to find a variety of things, but is there something in the design of one of these that could, look like a head or an arm when you put them together? Or do you simply look at an object and find the potential for movement? Like this could, in my demo, I'm going to try to make it look like a frog or something with the mouth sticking, the tongue sticking out. I would just look for the potential for how you could bring these objects to life through stop motion. So, you could do a character-based experiment, or you could pick a word like jump, pop, whatever, and try to articulate that in some way. Like here I did jump. Or you could simply, just play around with different techniques and timing and replacement and seeing what you can do just in the time that you have and experiment. I imagine most of you are animators. How many people are animators here? Mostly everyone. Okay. So in my demo, I'll talk about the basics of stop motion, but I think it would be really cool to see what people do, that you already come from a background of animation. Most likely a lot of you do 2D or computer animation, so I think this is really fun, like working with your hands, and maybe you can think of ways to incorporate stop motion into your own work. Like a lot of the stuff I do is on green screen, and I animate little assets that I then bring into After Effects and manipulate. So it's not all done in camera, and it just has the potential for bringing like some handcrafted textures and tactile materials into your work. So I'm just gonna take a second to connect my phone over here. So just hang on a minute. Yeah, this app is great though for just starting out and like playing around with it. When you get to your stations, I would just make sure that these tripods are really taped down. So that's one thing with stop motion, is like stability is super important. You don't want a wobbly camera, a wobbly tripod. And I would choose in your teams like whose phone you're gonna work with. You're just gonna tape it. We have gaffer tape around, and you're just gonna tape it to one end, the other end of this down shooter as well as you can. Okay, so this is the Stop Motion Studio app. And if you want to do more professional type stop motion work, this, like I said, this is great for just experimenting, but there's an amazing program called Dragon Frame. And if you have a DSLR camera, you can look at compatible cameras, and that's what, Leica productions use. That's what all commercial productions really use for stop motion. Okay, so, gonna get this open.
What was it called?
A Dragon Frame.
Dragon?
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna open Stop Motion Studio. It's pretty straightforward, and you're gonna click New Movie, and that opens a live feed of what you're doing here. And then you want to set your basic camera connections. You want to set your frame rate and lock your focus and do any like lighting exposure tweaks before you get started. So I'm just going to set an object in the frame to work off of to make sure my picture is looking the way I want it. So there's a gear icon in the left-hand corner. You want to click that, and this is where you set your frame rate. So in stop motion, it's usually 24 frames per second or working at 12 frames per second. I'm going to set it at 12 frames per second. So that's 12 movements per second here. Cool. And then next, I'm going to go up to the camera icon in the top right. And then there's this little like 3-tab icon in the bottom. And this is where you can set your focus and play with like white balance. So you can choose what you want. Maybe for the time's sake, just press auto locked, AL. That will just auto lock your focus and do the auto lighting. If you want to tweak it a little bit more, you can press the P for program. And there's all these different settings you can mess around with. There's like white balance, where you can do like iridescent, sunrise, fluorescent. It changes like the different lighting situations. There's also an exposure compensation here, where, you know, whoa, what's happening? You can mess with the lighting a little bit there. But I think for, you know, simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna go with the auto lock. And that should be good. I mean, the shadow isn't ideal, but which is what we're working with. I think that's something great about stop motion too, is you kind of have to like go with the flow. It's not a keyframed thing where you can go back in. I mean, you can to a certain extent do tweaks, but it's a straightforward process. So it's very much like having a clear idea of what the motion you want to be, and then working towards that, but embracing any mistakes that happen. There are some things you can do though, like if your hand actually accidentally gets into your picture, you can delete one of the frames. So I can show you that. Okay, so I'm just gonna say my camera looks good now. I have an idea where I want to have like a little bug-like character appear. And I'm gonna play with the technique of pixelation as well. So that's animating yourself. So I'm gonna have my hand come in and tap, and this little bug is gonna appear out of these objects that I have. So I'm gonna start with my blank frame, and the trick will be to be really delicate with this. Yeah?
Sorry, you said it's using your hand, it's pixelation.
Oh yeah, so there's a stop motion technique called pixelation that's animating humans. So if you see, like in that sample I showed with the little character and my hand came in, that's called pixelation. If you're stop motion a human as a puppet, like a real life puppet. So like there's films like Norman McLaren did a bunch of films in like the 70s with pixelation that were some of the first ones. I mean, there's more, there's probably earlier ones than that, but those stand out to me. Okay, so I'm gonna take my first frame, and what you do is you just click this red button really carefully. So you're gonna be like very delicate with that, because this is not, it's sturdy, but it's not like the most sturdy thing. And then I'm gonna, you have to think about shadows too. So I'm gonna like, I see my shadow just peeking in there. So I need to put the camera, this down for a second. So I'm gonna take a picture just of that shadow coming in. Okay, and then my hand coming in a little bit more. This might, maybe I could do this. Can you hear me if I do that? Okay, and then take another picture. And thank you. That's perfect. Okay, and well, my hand looks scary right now. Okay, and there's this really cool tool on the side called onion skin. So if you slide this little bar on the left-hand side, it creates like a ghost image of your previous frame. So you can tell what your increments are. So yeah, the closer your increments are together, the slower the movement's gonna be. The farther your increments are, the faster the movement's gonna be. So as animators, you know, easing in, easing out, all of that stuff is great. Embracing pauses, that's all like a part of this. Okay, so my hand's coming a little bit more. This is gonna be not the most beautiful animation, because I want you to do some work today. But my hand keeps coming in. Okay, and then I'm gonna go down, and I'm gonna do like a tap. Okay, and then I'm gonna say, okay, I looked at a bunch of my objects, and I wanted this to be like the body of the bug that forms. So I found a few objects that grow, or I can do it here actually. So this is like smaller, a bigger, and the biggest. So I'm gonna pop that little blue gem there, and I'm gonna have my hand like pop off of it now. Take a picture. And then I'm gonna so this is replacement animation. I'm gonna take that blue one out. I'm gonna pop in the bigger one. Take a picture really gently. Okay, and then take that one out. And then pop in my last one. And I wanted to like add, oh, I may have lost one, wings to this bug, like it's like a little flying insect or something. So I might have those come in gradually in a second. I'm gonna take my last frame of that coming on, and then maybe it's like starting to move around a little bit. I'm gonna have these wings maybe pop in from behind, or maybe they just appear. For this, you can be very like detailed about this, but for now I'm just gonna have it pop on. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that on, and then I'm gonna play with maybe it just kind of like buzzing in place. I'm gonna start like flapping these shell wings a little bit. And we can see how it's looking. So if you want to check out how it's looking and also see like your timeline, you can click the top right arrow and it will open your timeline. You can see all your frames there. So I'm gonna press play to see how it's looking. Boop. I mean, it's pretty fast, but all right. So I'm gonna do a mistake just so you see. Look, maybe I accidentally got my hand in there. Like sometimes you take a picture while someone's hand is in there or there's a shadow or something. So if I'm like, oh, I wanna delete that one, you go back into your timeline and you just click and hold that, or you just tap that and you can go delete and it will get rid of that frame. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going with this. I'm not gonna make it super long so you have time to really play around, but you just have it kind of like hovering there. See how it's looking. Okay, and then, I mean, I might want to do this a little longer just to have a little bit of a moment to enjoy this motion here. Mm-hmm. I'm just doing it kind of fast. Doo-doo. So yeah, I think just thinking about, the direction of where you're moving your objects, like what personality do you want to convey in whatever objects you're using, or simply just playing with things, moving, playing with timing, how you can do slow to fast. You could just experiment with simply just that if you want. So I'm going to now play with how do you put some personality into a single object rather than one where you combine materials. So this little tape measure, I want to have hop into the frame, pause for a second, and then gulp that thing up. Okay, so, and then when you have multiple things happening, it's like a lot to keep track in your head too. So, and I think that's why the onion skin helps. You can see if you moved it or not. That's my daughter. She thought these were super cool. She was like, oh, you're making rocket ships. Okay. So, thanks for holding that.
Here for you, Haley.
Thank you.
We do a bug me off your cash workshop.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Okay. so I'm having this tape measure just peek in just a little bit in the corner, and I forgot to move my bug, so I'm gonna do that. And I want this movement to be fairly fast, so I'm gonna have them kind of jump up on like an arc. Yeah. People always say watching people animate is like paint dry. Is it fun?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, and here we go. Okay, this. And then I'm just gonna have like a little bit of settle. Maybe it like leans forward a little bit.
How do you know how much settling something has when you move it? Are you kind of just guesstimating, or is this just years of experience at this point now?
It really is practice, and I think playing it back over and over helps. Like I'm kind of just going straight ahead, but like I play it back like every time before I take a frame. I make sure everything's going where I want it to go. But I think it is a very intuitive process, and like feeling the materials with your hands and like getting a sense of like how you can get personality through them. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just all about, playing with timing, seeing, oh, maybe I moved that too fast. Maybe the next movement, I'll try to like slow myself down a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna start having the tongue come out, kind of speeding this up so you guys have time to work. Oop. And yeah, if you like kick something out, the onion skin's awesome. You can get it back into the position that you want, and if you forget like where it was going, you play it back and you're like, oh, I was moving it that direction. But yeah, it really is just about like practice and kind of tapping into that sense of like childhood play. Like I feel like I'm just having fun and playing when I do this. I love it. Yeah.
Can you insert frames?
I'm not sure if you can do that in this program. You might be able to. I know like the very basics of this program. I think you can add sound in here and you can do stuff with green screen in here as well, but you might be able to add a frame. I'll have to look that up. Okay, so I'm just gonna say, and I want this to like maybe be really fast. It's like, so now it came out a little bit faster. I know, I'm honestly in the studio just making weird sounds to myself all the time. Okay, so, oh, yeah.
When you're animating, are you keeping the principles of animation in your back of your head, but also how do you determine like your elements that you're playing with, such as your fishes or your squids or whatever that, determining what principles to apply to those elements?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, yeah, I'm always thinking of the 12 principles of animation, but I think when working with physical materials, they don't always work the way you want them to. So you have to kind of adapt and be innovative with like maybe breaking some of those rules a little bit, and sometimes it works out better. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I love playing with like squash and stretch. Yeah, playing with path of action, easing in, easing out, follow through, like all of that stuff. But I think every project and every material you're working with is like, has a different set of constraints and like, you know, what style you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to do something really fluid, or are you trying to do something a little bit more poppy? And I think it's all about like what your ultimate goal for the look is gonna be. Yeah. Okay, so I'm almost done with this. Let's see how it's looking. Whoop. Thank you.
I'm here for it. I'm looking for the sound. This is good.
Okay. Okay. So maybe actually, so watching that, I'm like, maybe that needs a bit more of a impact. Maybe it's like the frog is like coming back a little bit. And this isn't a frog, but I don't know, we see it as that. So it's like, I don't know, it's just fun thinking how you can do that. And this, let's see, and maybe some of the wings like break off or something. So that's in the process. You're like, oh, like, I don't know, you just come up with things on the spot that you don't necessarily plan. And so that's why I say like childlike play. It's like just being kind of playful with it. This might be, and sometimes it's hard, like you're like, oh, I want that to disappear, but that might not work. So just go with it. And maybe the next frame that's gone and we just see these things like disappear in there. This might not look that beautiful, but okay. And then that one I'm gonna pop away, and this one I'll have here. So and then that will be gone. Okay, so let's watch this. I mean, not bad for a couple minutes. And that's not showing the whole thing. Maybe I think you have to go back in the timeline to see the entire.
There it goes. Ooh.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. And the final step, once you're done with your animation, you're gonna go, it looks like it got a little out of focus. I may not have, I'll have to check that. You'll hold onto the video that you want to export, and when you just hold it, it pops this thing up where you can just go export movie, and you can say save video, and it will save to your camera roll. And then Ashley made a Dropbox for everyone to upload their finished films to, and on the handouts there's a QR code that you can use to upload your finished experiments. So yeah, do you have any questions before you break into groups? We've got 12 stations, so you might have to take turns. I think it's thinking about maybe, I think just kind of talking amongst yourselves, like whose phone am I going to use? Maybe like a group has a turn for a little bit and then you switch. But there's plenty of materials to experiment with, and I think just thinking about those concepts I talked about, play with pixelation, replacement animation, timing, how you can imbue personality into these objects that you have.